In our quest of aesthetics, we need to go back in time. Unfortunately, in today's bodybuilding, aesthetics is quite a scarce sight if you ask me. It's all about mass without class. Let's go back to the heydays, baby. Please, golden era. Look at that, Arnold next to Sergio and Nubre. That's right, Mr. Sergio Oliva, may he rest in peace. All of you guys know these pictures. They're quite classical. They're epic. Everybody have seen these pictures. Look at him next to Ronnie Coleman. Not even a comparison. Look at the waist difference. Right? Look at him though again. He was next to Arnold Schwarzenegger. They were both young. Two young teenagers with some good aesthetics already. And then they grow and they made some gains. Oh yes, they did. Look at that. Mr. the Governator, Arnold Schwarzenegger himself. Again, all of you guys must have these pictures on your walls as posters, as myself when I was a youngster. He was the best in his era. Unparalleled. He was way ahead of his game. He was on another level. Look at that Javelot picture. Today's bodybuilders cannot do this for a reason. And there was that French guy next to him, Mr. Serge Nubre. Wow. The classical, aesthetic, complete physique until today, he is a reference by all standards. Let's go back at that picture though. There was a small guy next to them. Who is he? I wonder who's this guy. You guys know this guy? Correct. The king of aesthetics in the 80s, baby, please. Mr. Frank Zane with those classical lines and that vacuum. You better salute that. He was definitely a sight to be remembered. Again, in this picture, you can see him next to Arnold. That's right. And Arnold here is with a dude being caught. That dude is Mr. Lee Haney, 8 times Mr. Olympia in a row. He was reigning supreme on the Olympia throne during the 80s. He was definitely a complete guy. Vacuum, crazy V-taper, amazingly diced to the socks. He was a sight to be remembered. Look at him when he was a young teen. He made some gains if you ask me. But let's go back to this picture. He's being caught by a dude. Who's that dude though? That's Bob Paris, one of the most underrated dudes during the 80s. He was also a sight to be remembered. You can look at him next to Lito Brada. We will come back to Lee later. But you can see again Lee Haney holding a guy. That's Mohammed Makawi out from Egypt. Very small guy, extremely aesthetic. And he won several titles in the short category back in the 80s. He was a sight to be remembered. You can look at him here next to Mr. Olympia and John Weider. That's right, Mr. Olympia, Samir Banout, Lebanese, baby please. He eats some shish taouk on a daily basis, yet still shredded. Back double biceps next to Frank Zane. And look at him when he was a young. In my opinion, he also made some tremendous gains if you ask me. Let's move on. You can see him here next to Dorian Yates. And Dorian here is next to Flex Wheeler. Oh boy, Flex. The 90s already. Let's go on. Flex is next to another dude though, Mr. Lee Labrada, a giant killer from the late 80s. He was crazy good, right? One of the most successful entrepreneurs until this day in the bodybuilding / fitness scene. I like him when he had that mustache though. Let's go back to Flex Wheeler. 1993, the best version of Mr. Flex Wheeler. He was threatening the throne of Dorian Yates. It is his best shape ever. He was pretty much the double of Serge Nubre. Look at him, like twins. He was giving some sweat to Dorian Yates. Unfortunately, after that, he did a severe accident in his Benz in 1994. And when he came back, he was not the same. He was kind of bigger, not quite aesthetic. But nonetheless, when he was on, he was on. One of my very favorite bodybuilders. Look at that back double biceps. Remy was that. And look at him when he was young. Him too, he made some gains if you ask me, bro. There was another dude from France though, Francis Benfato. Very small, compact, and he was saluted when he entered Mr. Olympia place number 5, and Joe Weider gave him the throne of Mr. O, meaning you are a force to be reckoned with. He was quite impressive. But let's go back to the 80s though. You guys know this guy? You will be shocked. Prepare yourself to be shocked. Look at that. This is not Photoshop. This is a real picture. I give you Mr. Brian Buchanan. Good Lord, what is that? This was probably the craziest V-taper we've ever seen in bodybuilding. He was a sight to be remembered. Mr. Brian Buchanan. You know what? He reminds me of a new guy in the business. Cedric McMillan. We'll come back to this dude, but let's go on though. Look at this here. Charles Claremont, out from the UK, United Kingdom. He was a challenge to Dorian Yates. Unfortunately underrated because he came from another federation and it's impossible to win. Let's go on though. Oh boy, I'm depressed. This is today's. Let's go back in time though. Bring back the 90s. Ahmed Haidar from Lebanon. The best midsection ever, but he was complete pretty much everywhere. Look at the back. Quite complete. Unfortunately, he was too small for today's standard. Look at that crazy midsection. The best abs ever. Let's move on though. Marvelous Melvin Anthony. Definitely very good. He was a small Brian Buchanan in a sense. The best poser ever. He was in the same era as this guy right here, Mr. Chris Cormier. 260 pounds with crazy good midsection still. That was this guy as well, Mr. Victor Martinez. Now some of you will tell me he was beaten by Big Ramy. I'm sorry guys, he's not in shape. This dude had severe injuries everywhere. Definitely some mishaps. When he was on, he would have smoked Big Ramy out of the water. He was the uncrowned Mr. Olympia, no doubt. This guy is one of the best genetics ever. Force to be reckoned with. You can look at him here next to Jay Cutler. He should have won if you ask me. Uncrowned Mr. O. Back double biceps. Oh, there's a guy next to him to the right. Dexter, the Blade. Jackson! Look at him when he was young. He also made some gains, this kid, bro. Let's go on. Flexatron. My friend on Facebook, Sean Rodden. You know, he's almost 40, around 40. Still rocking one of the very classical physiques until today he represents. He's pretty much flex wheeler with legs. That's it. His flex wheeler with legs. Let's move on though. X-Man, Tony Freeman. And let's go back to Cedric McMillan. This is a so good potential. Look at him, back double biceps next to Ronnie Coleman. He holds his own. Very aesthetic, small waist. It's pretty much the Hodge twins on creatine, right? If you know what I mean. Definitely very good potential. There's also this French guy, Lionel Beyeki. Look at that V-taper, relaxed. Amazing potential. There's also Brandon Curry. This dude is pretty much, you can say, Francis Benfato with legs. Amazing good potential. Oh my lord, I'm sorry. Oh my lord, bring back the aesthetics, please. Look at that, guys. I leave you with a picture of Mr. Brian Buchanan. Don't forget to like the video if you like it. Comment at the bottom. Tell me what is your favorite aesthetic guy. Salute me, subscribe, and don't forget to like the video. Have a nice one.